This basically confirms it for the Boston Bruins. We've provided an update regarding Brad Marchand and what the rest of his career may look like with the Boston Bruins. We're going to be breaking that down, as well as an update on Jeremy Swayman in these World Championships. We have a quote from him coming out about the reason that he entered this tournament. We're going to be breaking that down as well. And finally, ending the video off with an update on our coaching search. Before we jump into all of this news that we have here today, though, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We know this, a lot of you guys are not watching, are not subscribed right now. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do so. Hit the sub button, join us here on the channel. We're on the road to 7K, and your support has been absolutely incredible as of late. But let's get straight into our first bit of news here regarding Jimmy Murphy. Quotes on Brad Marchand. This is what he had to say. As I've stated since he was traded, a source close to Brad Marchand just told me, I can't see a way he returns to the Bruins. That ship has sailed. And it does seem like this is officially official, I guess we can call it. Brad Marchand doesn't seem to be returning to the Boston Bruins until he retires. And, we're going to see that regardless. I think that there's no way Brad Marchand does not retire a Boston Bruin, but it doesn't seem like he will be playing here any point throughout the rest of his NHL career. Now, I think this is something that we didn't really want to admit, but we kind of knew once this trade went down with the Florida Panthers. I think we kind of knew that Brad Marchand, I wouldn't necessarily say had the best fit on this team anymore. Certainly played well last year with the Bruins in that time, but when it comes to the way the Bruins are rebuilding, retooling, and it really comes down to this year's draft and the plans going forward, it really didn't seem like Brad Marchand had much of a fit for this team anymore. Because when we go and look at the forwards here, Brad Marchand really could fit anywhere in this lineup right now. But this is not a final lineup. This is not a lineup that the Boston Bruins are going even into next season with. We know there's going to be a plethora of moves. Some of these younger guys are going to be cracking the lineup. And Brad Marchand was really taking up a place that some of these guys the Bruins wanted to have in. He was taking that spot. I think that it's finally time that we can really say and admit it. We got the first-round pick out of it. He's officially played half of Florida's playoff games, so it could be a lot worse from the Boston Bruins standpoint, but it still will be very, very weird whether or not he's in a Panthers jersey next year to see Brad Marchand in anything but the black and gold. And I kind of just wanted to pull up this as well. The Bruins cap is not an issue with this. They certainly could go out here, sign Brad Marchand, make it a very easy decision for this team because, when we go and look, $26 million next year to start off this free agency with and then going into 39, the Bruins have enough money to do it, and they had enough money to sign him in the first place, but they couldn't agree on a deal, and I think that was really the final straw of where things were standing, and if he didn't get traded, we really don't even know if he would have signed back with the Boston Bruins here in the offseason. So, I think the ship has sailed, and as Jimmy Murphy said, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big option now for the remainder of his career. But we do have an update as well on Jeremy Swayman, someone who also had a bit of an interesting year last year where there was some uncertainty regarding, first of all, his contract in the offseason, then going over to his play in the regular season. He was not the goalie we wanted to, and he's officially said why he went in to play with USA in the World Hockey Championships, who are playing for gold here soon against Switzerland. A very interesting team there, but this is what Swayman had to say. It was about if he decided to play there because of his mental struggles throughout the season. I knew this was a great opportunity to play meaningful hockey at this time of year. I wanted to prove to myself that I could play a full year of a ton of games and still hold my body together and perform at a high level. I couldn't be more honored to play for the USA, and I'm never going to say no. It's something I'm really prideful about. And having Swayman on this lineup and in this roster with a Team USA who, at that very moment when the team was built, didn't have the best goalies available. Jake Ottinger, Connor Hellebuyck were still in the playoffs, but they did have a guy like Jeremy Swayman who is still a very good goalie. And, I'm not doubting him from this season. It was obviously a bad season. He acknowledged it, and we've seen his play take a major step up here in this year when he's coming down to play with Team USA. And when you look at it, 6 games, .905 save percentage. I would like that to be a bit higher. He's not facing too many shots because of how good Team USA's roster is, but a 198 goals against. I know there was one game there that we made a video about letting in 5 or 6 goals. I can't recall that. I tried to forget that out of my memory, but apart from that, Swayman was very, very good here in this tournament so far, and even some playing against some very sneaky good teams, like, what we're going to see in the gold medal game against Switzerland. The team is not the greatest on paper, but they are a very good team. They play very well together, but you see that compared to his stats this year with the Bruins. In his 58 games played, 311 goals against an .892 save percentage. It is a small margin, but it is a major boost, and I'm happy to say that Swayman has been playing well here in this. He's been playing confident with this team, and I think that's going to be a big step forward into his process of the offseason, going into this as, we know that we're going to need to be better. We know that I'm going to need to be better, And we know that this team needs me. And, that's what Swayman's mindset has to be going in here, especially when it came out to looking at his whole kind of system in the off season last year when he was going to his contract decisions and then going to practice at Boston University and staying away from the team. And, I'm not putting the blame on him, but it certainly was something to do with that, with the decision around that team and the contract there that put the Bruins off on the wrong foot. So I'm excited to see the clear-headed mindset going into this offseason, into the beginning of next season, and I'm expecting to see Jeremy Swayman back to what he was when we had Linus Ullmark, doing the 50-50 split with him. And, a full season as well coming in. You have to play 20 extra games, we can call it, there instead of Ullmark. So getting used to that was an important thing, but remember, he didn't have his playoff games this year, so he could be up closer to, 65, 70 games on the season, depending on how a playoff series would go with him. So we'll have to see with that as well. But I do have another update here regarding this championship, the World Hockey Championship, going over not Jeremy Swayman, but Elias Lindholm, who's actually played very, very well. The Bruins center, Elias Lindholm, scored for Sweden in the semifinals, lost to finish the tournament with 12 points, 8 goals and 4 assists in 9 games. And those 8 goals led the tournament. So Elias Lindholm was also coming off this tournament hot like he did at the end of the season. And, it would have been good to see him play that few extra games there at the end of the season if the Bruins were in the playoffs or whatnot, to really see what that would have continued as. And you see it continue here in this tournament. And I'm expecting, and hopefully we're going to see this continue the start of next season and really have him come off on the hot foot when we're going to be needing another center. And I think that's going to be one of the Bruins' priorities here in this offseason, but the way that Elias Lindholm showed he could play in this tournament, showed he could play in the end of the regular season, I'm expecting him to come out hot and really ready to go. And, I think it's only going to be a matter of time. We can't really predict these things, but we can kind of judge in the offseason, see what happens there, how this team builds up on the lineup. And, when we're looking at the forwards right here, he is still at that number 1 center, and there's Zacha, Middlestat, Minton, Kastlik, Poitras, so many other centers that are available to play here. So we'll see what happens there, but I do have one final update on our coaching search here from Pierre LeBrun. This was a day or two old here at the point of recording this video, but I want to throw it in because, it's very repetitive from what we've been talking about, but this is what we have an update on. Pierre LeBrun said, on the Bruins coaching search, my understanding is final interviews will be conducted this upcoming week, which is next week at this time, so, in a couple days, and decision will come after that. Not sure who made the cut, but Boston has talked to a lot of people: Marco Sturm, Jay Woodcroft, Mitch Love, Luke Richardson, Joe Sacco, Jay Leach, among those believed to have been interviewed. Now, when it comes down to this as well, Misha Donskov is a name that has not made this list. Mark Savard is a name who's not made this list. Mark Savard apparently is not going to be a candidate. That's what we've been seeing. But when it comes down to Misha Donskov, a guy that I see a lot of you guys in the comments as well from that video I made the other day, a lot of you guys liked his idea. He's a very good development coach, and I think that he would be a perfect fit. But as the Bruins have made the decision to go out, sign Don Sweeney, the concern of not having a head coach seemed to be running through them. So it looks like they won't be interviewing anybody that are still or was in the playoffs, which counts to be Misha Donskov. So let me know what you think of this group here. And I do believe this list is pretty much the same. Mark Savard, Misha Donskov, we can take those out here. But when you put Mitch Love, when you put Jay Woodcroft in there, Luke Richardson, another very interesting name, it comes down to, a lot of interesting decisions that will be broken down as we head through this week when we get some more updates. So be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already and you're looking for a spot for all of your Bruins news. We're going to have a lot of it here in this offseason. And, the offseason is only starting to heat up. We got a lot of signings, a lot of draft stuff coming soon, and you won't want to miss it. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.